In today's video, we are going to be doing advanced pull-up exercises. I've got Jen again here with me today, helping with some of the demos and also giving some context to her pull-up training that she does in terms of the sports niche that she works within. So Jen is very much a competition climber. I'm a trad climber, so we have quite a different background, but we both use pull-up exercises in our training. First thing I want to remind you of is that one, we have an intermediate pull-up exercise video, so have a look at the link and the description below if you want to have a look at that. So this particular video is very much more created for the advanced level climbers. So get your basics sorted out before you get involved with the exercises that Jen and I are going to get involved with today. All your stuff around your strength and conditioning around the shoulders, and then also those foundational pull-up exercises. Secondly, and this is one that Jen and I deal with a lot with our clients, is training load. It's all about the training load history and how we ease into that with these exercises. So if Jen and I are going to do a particular exercise on here and you've never done it before, don't just slam it in and go in at max level, going to failure every time, doing really high numbers of sets and reps. Remember your training history and ease it in slowly. Just because these might look interesting, new or cool, don't go in too heavy too soon. Exercise number one is the tucked pull-up. And this one, we're going to show you two different variations, so you've got some progressions on it. And one of the things that's really good for advanced climbers is that you'll get to a stage where pull-ups feel relatively easy, but you want to change the intensity, but you might not want to do a lot of weighted exercise, which we'll move on into another example later on. But in terms of a body weight exercise, if we get Jen demonstrating both a tucked leg position and an L-set position, these really change the way the lats and the back and the shoulders work in that pull-up exercise to actually make the intensity feel much higher. And these are a really nice way of building up the difficulty and the level of advancement and progression on these exercises. So Jen, standard pull-up.
Yeah.
We're gonna aim for 5 reps.
Okay.
And what you're gonna be concentrating on here is that the leg is very much in that 90-degree angle. It's almost like you're sitting on an invisible chair. And I want you to do the full range of motion. And we're also going to have a look at how that feels differently in terms of your core and your shoulders as well on that exercise.
Cool, okay.
That's really good. So you can see she's controlling movement all the way up from the bottom through to the top, not shock glazing the elbows or the shoulders. She's keeping that seated position. And this feels at least, I'd say, double as hard as a normal pull-up. And she's going to be activating the core hip flexors and also the scapula scapular stabilizing muscles in a very different manner on this exercise as well. Is there something, what do you always, I don't know if you're the same as me, but what do you feel when you have your shoulders at the bottom of that exercise, the activation of the first initiation?
I always feel like my lats have to do something, so it kind of isolates them and really feel them working. And then you kind of get into the more like bicep area afterwards.
Because it always feels fine, doesn't it, for the top part of the movement, but that bottom bit, it just massively changes it in terms of difficulty.
Yeah, that was hard.
We'll show you a demonstration as well of the L-sit. We'll just do a couple of these just to kind of show you how they're done.
Cool.
Jen will kill me if I make her do 5 of these as well. So this one here, we're going for straight legs out front. It's going to be a lot more stressful on both the core and the hip flexors. Yeah, really good. And this makes that pull-up part really good. Yeah, excellent.
That's way harder.
Yeah, it's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it steps it up another level in terms of how the lats and shoulders work on that exercise. Much, much harder. Top part of the exercise will feel quite similar, but it's great for anyone who really wants to work on that shoulder stability, not shoulder stability, but shoulder strength and conditioning in relation to climbing as well. Sets and reps on this one, it can be anything through from higher intensity, low reps, so that 3 to 5 rep range, all the way through to 8, 10, 12 reps. But don't forget that if you're working on the muscle recruitment, changes in maximal strength, you're working in a much higher quality, higher intensity range, so lower reps. But if you're working in that muscle hypertrophy, so trying to change muscle size, changing that cross-sectional area of the muscle, then you're working in the 8, 10, 12 rep range, but slightly smaller sets. Exercise 2 that we're going to look at for pull-up exercises for advanced level climbers is the assisted one-arm pull-up. And we have 2 different variations that we can do with this one. Got a pull-up bar, our pulley and weight system set up on here. Obviously, Jen needs to be in a harness for this so she can clip in and get that assistance. She's not going to use a dipping belt for this one, so the weight is not going from below you, it's actually pulling you up, so you will need a harness on this. If you use a dipping belt, it'll end up underneath your armpits and it won't work very well. Trust me, I've tried it. When we're doing that exercise, we're going to be doing a one-arm pull-up, and we're going to be getting assistance from that weight and pulley set up to the side. Now, what I'm going to demonstrate here with Jen is actually a slightly sort of nicer version of it that you can do if you have a partner. So traditionally, you'd have your weights on here, crank, 15, 20, 25 kilos of assistance on there, and it'll get you through that movement. One of the reasons why we do this versus, when we were doing the intermediate video, we had that sling, and we were using that to push down. It felt like a campus exercise, is that the assistance that you're getting on this side is not fixed. So you're having to stabilize and work the shoulder in a much more advanced way, essentially. Feels much more specific and relevant to climbing, but it is a more advanced exercise. And a nicer version of this now is that with Jen, I'm going to be able to help her, one, break the bottom part of that lock on a single arm pull-up, and then also help her all the way through the full range of movements from the top through to deep lock. But I can feel how much assistance she needs through that exercise and give her that through the other side of the pulley. So that's what we're going to have a go at. Should we go for bottom of the lock first of all?
Yeah.
Is that something that you struggle with, the bottom part of the lock?
Yeah, definitely. That initial bit is really hard for me. Yeah, once I'm in the middle, it's not so bad, and then again, the top's quite hard too. Yeah,
okay. Well, let's have a go at a few of those then. Right, so I'll take this weight off the side of here. So you're going to clip into here.
Okay. Cool.
So normally we would have our weight on here, and this would be applying, 15, 20, 25 kilos of additional force, and Jen would be able to do those one-arm assisted pull-ups. But the force that the help she get would be consistent all the way through that pull. Whereas now what I can do is I can apply that force as her training partner and feel what she needs to be able to get through the pull-up. So you're going to be right arm, and we're going to go for 5 reps of breaking the lock at the bottom, and I'm going to apply the force on here to give her enough to get through. So first of all, I'm going to be quite generous. Okay, good. 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 3, 4, really good. Good.
Yeah, it's definitely the hard bit for me.
Yeah. But what was interesting with that was that as you got through those first couple of movements and just started to control the shoulder and that rotation, you became better at it, and I was putting less and less force in. So your face didn't really say that. I could see how hard you were trying,
Yeah.
but I could moderate it just enough to be able to get you through those 5 reps. And that's where this exercise is so nice in terms of an advanced pull-up exercise, because your partner can work with you, giving you just enough assistance to get you through. I mean, Jen will kind of hate me for it because I'm pushing her so hard, but the quality and the benefits you'll get from the training are really, really good. Let's try the full pull-up range just to kind of show you what we can do with this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to apply force all the way through from the bottom of the pull-up to the top. I'm going to go for 2 reps on this one. And I'm going to, I suspect, have a different amount that I'm going to pull on this at different points within that pull-up. But the great thing is I can moderate it to make sure that Jen has success with that full range of motion.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm ready on here. Good. Come on. Good. Yeah, really nice.
That was good.
Did you notice one thing that I was doing on that with the way down?
Yeah, you let go a little bit.
Yeah. So that's using that principle that we talked about in the intermediate video, where we can do that eccentric motion, so we can control and we can endure more force in that eccentric, that opening, that lengthening of the muscle. So I'm giving a lot of assistance on the upward part of the pull-up, but then I'm really not helping Jen very much on the bottom part. So then when she comes to the next one, she's a little bit more fatigued and it gets harder and harder. So really good advanced exercise, that one.
Yeah, that's good.
Low reps as well, don't we, on that?
Yeah, definitely. What, 2, 3?
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, and then maybe like 3, 5 sets or so with it. Third exercise that we're going to do now is a superset exercise, and this one is definitely sitting in the advanced category because what Jen is going to do in terms of sort of coaching it and taking me through this session is she is going to aim to burn out my biceps and really fatigue my biceps so that when I go into a wide grip pull-up exercise, my biceps are so fatigued and tired that it makes my lats work way more and stresses the lats a lot more in that wide grip exercise. So what she does is she moderates me through a bicep intensive exercise first off, gets to the point where I'm really struggling with it, and then will get me going straight onto the pull-up bar in that wide position, really stressing the lats. So this one's another bit of payback. Let Jen back to me this time. So we can either do this with bicep curls or with narrow grip chin-ups, which are another really good way to kind of work the biceps. Jen's gonna see where I'm just starting to fatigue and suffer, and she's gonna pull me out of it and get me onto the wide grips. So
Cool, ready?
Let's payback time. Okay, where am I going for on the pull-up?
So we wanna go underhand grip,
Yeah.
full range of motion, get really high at the top, and then keep going until you're tired.
Okay.
Nice, yeah. Good. Looks pretty easy so far. Still going. Starting to struggle now. Let's do a couple more. Yeah, good, one more. Nice. Yeah, so now his biceps are cooked, so wide grip pull-ups next. Yeah, really good. Nice, come on. Go on. Yeah, good. You just want to be careful on this one that you keep your elbows down, you're not like over-firing your top of your traps.
Yeah, trying to bring my chest up into that bar still.
Yeah, nice. Come on. Yeah, go on. Good work.
Oh, that's brilliant. Loved it. Oh, it's great. Like biceps gone, lats gone. Yeah, really good exercise, that one. Thanks for that, Jen.
Sorry.
It's payback time, it's your exercise now. Exercise number 4 is a pull-up exercise, which is really, really useful. Admittedly, actually for intermediate level climbers as well, but becomes particularly essential for the advanced level climbers. And that's either speed or velocity-based strength training, so that explosive pull-up work. And the reason why this is so important is that we can spend years or the season, so depending on the sort of timing on it, working on our absolute strength. But often we may well struggle to apply that strength on the wall or in a climbing situation with speed. And this has a high degree of specificity to climbing. So it's super important to work this both on the wall and also on a pull-up bar. They're both very useful tools. Now, when we look at this exercise, it kind of exists on a spectrum. So when we look at that velocity or speed-based strength training, it operates on a spectrum of very or much lower intensity, very high speed movement through to much higher intensity but slower speed movement. So we're all the way through from the speed initiation through to accelerative strength training. But in the middle, and the one that we're going to do with Jen now, is we're going to show you speed strength training and strength speed training. So the difference is that you swap the word around and that they operate in different intensity bands. So one is the speed strength training, and that's 30 to 40% intensity of 1 rep max. And then the other is strength speed training, and that's in the 40 to 50% range. So let's go for the higher intensity one first of all with Jen. So that's going to be the strength speed range. And this is gonna be a pull-up that we're gonna have Jen do on the bar. And she's gonna do this at body weight, because that's around that kind of 50% intensity. So she can still execute with a high degree of speed. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right, so we're gonna aim for 5 pull-ups on the bar.
Okay.
And with this, she's going to isolate them into single reps. So she's going to do a very fast, explosive pull-up movement, jump off the bar, shake the arms and shoulders out, and then go again. So she doesn't have to link these exercises. That's not essential on this. But what is essential is that, one, she's going into that session really fresh, so the speed and the quality of work is going to be really high, and the intention is really high. So if Jen was doing this as a proper session with me as a coach, I'd be getting a really G'd up for these, like fully, you're really on this. Very, very high intention, very high quality work. Okay, so we're gonna go from bottom to top, absolute maximum speed, Jen. Good, 1. Okay, so shake those arms out. Good, okay, you can shake them out a little bit more if you want to. Really aiming for full intention. Good. 2 more. 4. Good. Good. So you can see that she's careful, that when she's coming down, she's controlling that movement. She's not shock loading the elbows or the shoulders all the way down to the full range of movement. And she's trying to cover that full range of movement with a higher degree of speed as possible. She's looking for, if you're going to actually measure it, somewhere around 1 meter per second or a little bit less in terms of that speed. Okay, so that's the strength speed element of that sort of training. Now we're going to look at the speed strength. And to do that, we're going to use one of these, which is an assistance band. This one's quite a, yeah, there's a fair bit of give on that one. So we're going to get quite a bit of assistance for Jen. Going to place that on the middle of the bar. She's going to either put a foot or a knee through, depending on how long your elastic band is. You can do this with a pulley setup if you get someone to give you assistance. There's a few different ways of doing this. But now we should see with this speed strength element of explosive training that her speed should be much higher because the intensity has now gone down.
Cool.
Let's have a go. See if we can get your foot in it first. Do you want to give it assistance? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're doing exactly the same thing. 5 pull-ups, really high intention, really high speed.
Oh my God.
Good. Okay, so as you saw there, when Jen was coming down, she was putting energy back into this elastic band, so she was getting a recoil effect, and that was making that exercise even easier. And that's not the idea here, really. What we really want is we want the muscles in Jen to be doing this exercise, not getting efficiency through having a technique on this exercise. So I'm gonna get Jen to jump back on this again, but I'm gonna get her to control and stop the movement at the bottom of the exercise and then really pull through that for the entire exercise again. So let's get a bit more control on this time. Good. Good, get control. That's it, much better. 3, 2 more. Excellent. Yeah, good. Okay, nice one.
Yeah, it's quite a lot harder.
Yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it can become sort of it feels appealing to use the technique in with the bands because it makes it feel easier.
It feels like you're on a bouncy castle.
Yeah, yeah. But it ultimately comes down to that on this exercise, you're trying to get the intensity right with it. So if you start getting loads of force into that band, getting that recoil effect, you might go down to maybe 10 or 20% of 1 rep max. And that's more in that kind of speed initiation sort of zone in terms of that spectrum of speed or velocity-based strength training. Last exercise that we're going to show you on the bar is a more advanced version of the climber's shoulder shrug. Now I'm going to show you 2 variations of this because if you look on the internet, you look on YouTube or anyone on blogs, social media, there are actually 2 different ways of doing this. At Lattice, we tend to favor the first variation that Jen's going to have me doing, which we think it has a higher degree of specificity and transfer over into climbing, and also relates to how we see the typical climber being often tight in the pec, the shoulders, a lot of anterior tilt in the shoulders, and it works that element of the climber's shoulder health, strength and conditioning in a much more beneficial way. So we tend to work this first exercise more over the second one. But actually the kind of, I guess the truth of it is that any good, well-conditioned climber should be able to do both of these exercises and execute both of them with a high degree of form and also at a high level of intensity. So that's where the kind of the advanced element of this is coming in. Both these exercises, if you're an intermediate or lower level climber, you could do these more at a body weight or assisted level of intensity. So let's do exercise number 1. So what are we looking for, Jem?
So Tom's going to start on the bar in a pretty relaxed position. So sort of shoulders disengaged, and then he's going to pull, depressing his scapula and keeping the arms straight the whole time. We're not like starting that pull up, and you can see he keeps his body straight as well, so he's not bending that torso or lifting his chest up.
So we're not doing that?
Yeah.
So with this exercise, I've got 15 kilos or so on this one here, but advanced level climbers can get right up into the 40, 50 or 60 kilo range. You can actually get surprisingly heavy with this exercise. We're on 2 arms, and logically, if you have a high degree of strength and conditioning around the shoulders and you're used to this type of exercise, you can go pretty heavy on it. So don't be too conservative if you're a elite level climber, advanced level climber, really adding the weight on this exercise. Obviously, control all the way through the full range of movement. Don't shock load the shoulders in particular with this exercise because you're not bending those elbows. For variation 2 on the climber's shoulder shrug, what we're looking for in this one now is the tilt of the torso or thoracic extension. And you'll find a lot of climbers have really poor levels of thoracic mobility. And it's something they should continually work on, both the strength, conditioning, and mobility in that part of the body. And I'm going to get Jen to kind of talk us through some of those key points when I'm on the bar now. It's quite different from that first exercise I showed you, but still a really relevant climber's shrug exercise.
Cool. So again, he's going to start in a similar position, relax shoulders, and then as he engages his shoulders, he's going to aim to like pinch his shoulder blades together and lift the chest. You can see though he still keeps his arms straight. We're still not initiating that pull. This one will feel a little bit more like you're starting a front lever or on a really steep board.
That's a good exercise, that one. I've had to come down a little bit lighter on this one because I find it harder than the classic shoulder shrug. And it also works the lats a little bit more. You will need to be careful on this particular one in terms of the loading that you put on a dipping belt because there's a little bit more emphasis on the lower back. So don't load as heavy on this and be really careful on it. Again, I really wouldn't recommend going for a harness on this kind of setup. Nice, big, broad, wide dipping belt. Buy something that's just actually suited to this kind of exercise. Right, I think we're done.
Yeah.
So that's 5 exercises relevant to advanced elite level rock climbers. Hope you found this interesting. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and we will see you again very soon.